Hello everyone, Jamie Johnson, Rust Rods. I'm going to actually start a different video today of a different part of the truck. I was going to actually assemble the back half of the frame today with the 4-link and stuff, but it's about 1 degree here in Missouri, and the upper part of my shop is not very well heated, so I decided to come back in our fab shop because we got a little better heat back here, and we're going to work on the firewall today. I'm actually, there's metal behind this, so I'm going to cover this with aluminum, just more for decoration than anything. So I'm going to try to come up with a good design and do a little bead rolling, and I'm going to do some other accent pieces on it. But first of all, I got to get the design out, and I'll kind of show you guys kind of some bead rolling when I get started. But I'll get the design laid out, and then we'll come back to that here in just a few minutes, and I'll kind of show you where I'm going to go with this. I got the firewall design laid out. I took a Sharpie and I made my lines. I'm going to move over to the bead roller here in a minute. I had to locate the Hydro Boost. I had to locate where the hydraulic clutch comes through and the steering column. So I'm going to dimple die this right here. I'm going to raise this up. And then inside these inserts here, I'm going to make some inserts that actually will be out of black aluminum. And I'm going to probably do some diamond roll on it like I have it in Interior. So let's move on over to the bead roller. Now we have the die set up. We're going to use a stepping die, and I'm going to go around this thing, a couple of times, and probably multiple times to try to not to warp the panel. And what I was learned, I took a class from Jamie Jordan, and he really kind of taught us how to, go in lightly and then just multiple passes. So I'm going to try it and just see how we go. And sometimes you can mess it up. It's not very hard. So I'm going to make a little contact. I'm going to make one turn. This is actually one of my favorite things to do. Try to stay in the lines. Like I said, it's just barely making an indentation for now. We're actually going to step this part up, and this part will be flat against the firewall. Alright, we're at the dimple die machine. I'm going to put 3 dimples in this now. I've taken the cutters out of this. This is a Miller Brothers machine. And I'm taking the cutter. I don't want to punch through the metal. I just want to dimple it in just enough. And you got to be careful. Pull too hard, you'll actually bust through. And I have done that and run a whole piece after I worked half a day on it. Well, maybe exaggerate a little. So I'm just going to push down enough. Finished. I'm still going to make some inserts out of black. It's going to fill this in. I did the little dimple dies in here, but I didn't cut them all the way through. That's where the brake booster and the steering column and the clutch master cylinder comes through. So we'll move on to the next panels. I'll have to get some wax paper and trace this out so I can get a pattern, and we'll get it done. Can't wait to see what it looks like. One thing good about it, if you don't like it, you can change it. And that's what I love about this. Alright, I got the wax paper on the firewall, so I'm going to trace out my line for my inserts. And the wax paper works really good because you can transfer it onto another piece of paper, and I'll show you how to do that here in a bit. So I'm just going to try to follow these lines. First one done, and I'm sure you probably have to do some fine tuning on the edge of the sheet metal when I get it cut, but that's part of it. So let's move over to the next one. I usually kind of just run my finger around it so I can kind of trace it. Alright, got both of them traced out. So I'll get them transferred on another piece of metal and I'll show you that here in just a couple seconds. Okay, I've got the wax paper taped down to the black aluminum and I'm going to use this, I think it's for seamstress. I learned this from a class I took with Jamie Jordan, and it's just got the little sharp edges on it, and it'll make a mark on your metal as you trace it around, and then you can use that as your cut line. So I'm just going to take it and go around the line, just try to keep it as straight as I can. And it don't take much to get it where you can see it. Alright, I'm all the way around. Let's take it off real gentle so I don't mess up this template. There, I think you can see them there. Whoop. Sorry about that. Alright, I got my designs laid out. I'm going to do a diamond pattern with an outer border. I'm going to buck rivet this to the panel. So after I get that bead rolled out, I'm going to go ahead and buck rivet this, and then this has got to come out, and I got to drill all the holes and then get it ready to put on. So we'll get this part done and I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. Now we're going to buck rivet the black race car aluminum onto the silver aluminum. Now this is race car aluminum. It's got a clear plastic coating on it. I'm going to leave that on there until we get this all up there so we don't scratch it anymore when we have to. So I'm going to use my earplugs and I'm going to start buck riveting. Alright, the first panel's buck riveted. We're going to move on to the second one. As soon as we get this done, I'll put it back on the truck and we'll see what it looks like. I usually like to run a little bit of silicone around the edge just because you're going to wash the truck and I'm sure dirt's going to try to creep out from underneath of it. I always run a little bead of silicone on the inside. Alright, I got all the buck rivets in the panels, both panels. I'm going to put them back on the truck, test and make sure the brake booster and all that sets back on, and the bulkhead for the air conditioning. So we'll get it back on, I'll peel all this off and take a peek at it, see how it looks. Alright, firewall's pretty much finished. I still have to bolt it to the truck, and I'll do that at a later date. I'm going to probably clear coat this. Anyway, I think it turned out pretty well. I like the buck rivets against aluminum. Got all the master cylinder and clutch master cylinder back, bolt through, it fit really well. I got my AC bulkhead in. So hopefully we'll move back to the frame if this weather will cooperate. It's snowing pretty hard. It's about a high of 3 degrees today here in Missouri. So anyway, we're looking forward to some more films and I hope you guys enjoy it. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.